Hi, this is Pam Didner here. Thank you so much for tuning in to B2B Marketing and More with me. And this is a place I want to share with you about my know-how, my experience, and also templates. And I want to help you to think strategically, do your job better, and hopefully by doing that, you can climb the corporate ladder faster. For today, I want to share with you a case study is how I work with one specific client of mine and to help her in terms of a budget planning and some of the process that I actually went through with her. I think you will find it interesting. So Cindy, let's just call her Cindy, is a newly promoted VP of marketing for a manufacturing company. And she's very, very good at her job. She's always in the weeds and try to get things done. It doesn't matter what kind of job or the tactics or initiative that you give her, she will find a way to get it done and get it done flawlessly. However, this year, she needed to have a conversation with her manager, who is a VP of marketing, a very high level and strategic discussion in terms of the budget for 2020. And plus, she wanted to ask for more budget. And that's hard to do a lot of time when you work for manufacturing companies. So she purchased a 10-hour consultation package. She wanted to work with me to actually create a deck that she can actually present it to the VP of sales and have an in-depth conversation and also get a budget that she requested. So when we started to engage, the first thing she sent to me was a laundry list of the marketing expenses for 2019. Frankly, that's not what I want to see. What I really want to see is her marketing plan. And she sent me the marketing plan as well, and it's very lengthy. And that's totally fine. And what I did is I take all the information in the marketing plan and I pick the information that's needed and create an executive summary to orient the VP of sales to drive the conversation. There are only 5 elements on the executive summary. The first one is business goal. The second one is business objective. The third is marketing objective. The fourth is marketing strategy. And the fifth element is KPI, which is key performance indicators. There are a lot of things she wants to talk about. I say no, let's keep it very, very simple. Plus the VP of sales really don't have, long attention span. So let's keep it very simple for him and only give him enough information to drive the conversation. So the business goal is pretty much a revenue for 2020. What would that be? And then the business objective is what are some of the existing business segments and also the new business segments they want to go after. And the marketing objective is very generic, which is build a brand awareness and drive demand for the new and existing industry segments, whatever that is. And the strategy, the marketing strategy is a whole lot more specific. And Cindy identified 3: thought leadership, brand awareness, and a demand gen. Thought leadership is to position the company's thought leadership position by showcasing subject matter experts' know-how and the knowledge, right? The brand awareness is try to build brand awareness by increasing the opt-in, which is subscribers on their website. And the demand gen is really focused on driving MQL through the email inquiries and the contact forms from their website. So everything is very, very specific in terms of what Cindy needed to deliver for 2019. And their KPI aligns with that, right? So the number of the content production that's aligned with the thought leadership play. And then the opt-in subscriber aligned with the brand awareness. The last one is the number of the MQL that she's responsible, which is demand gen. That is the executive summary, which is just enough elements and information to orient the VP of sales. And after that, I told Cindy, now you should categorize the 2019 budget into these 3 categories: thought leadership, demand gen, and the brand awareness. Once we got that done, all of a sudden you have a high-level budget category, right? So it's not a laundry list of information that we want to share the VP of sales that will overwhelm him. Let's make it very simple. Now, can we look at, for example, the content creation? If she has $50,000 for content creation, and then she generated 500 pieces of content, then cost per acquisition is $100, right? So she spent average $100 per content piece. Okay, that's good information to know. And the same analogy apply, and then let's assume she spent $200,000 for demand gen, And the MQL that she actually did was $2,000. Again, that's $100 per cost per acquisition for one MQL. So with that kind of information, now you have a cost per acquisition information, then you can actually determine what are some of the goals that you want to accomplish for 2019. Let's assume $100 cost per acquisition for one MQL. If you want to increase the MQL to $3,000, then all of a sudden you have a projected budget that you needed for 2020, which is $300,000. So having the cost per acquisition, having your goals for 2020, multiply, you can get a projected budget for 2020. But that should be your baseline. You should not take it as they are. You have to take other accounts into, or other elements into account. For example, for the content creation, so $100 per content piece, and now if you want to generate 700 pieces of content, then the projected budget is $70,000. However, Cindy decided to do more video production. If we do video production, the cost per video is substantially higher than just a blog post. Therefore, with that $70,000 of projected budget, you need to think it through, right? If you want to have a certain portion of it to be a video production, then you have to increase that amount, maybe to $90,000. So you have to add your judgment call to the budget, right? Not just take the number as it is. That same also apply to the demand gen. So let's assume the cost per one MQL is $100, but everything she did tend to be organic. Now she wanted to add, for example, pay media, banner ads, and also pay search into part of demand gen. That cost per acquisition for MQL is likely to be increased because of a pay element part of it. So now you have to judge that number and then determine what is your goal and then calculate what is projected 2020, the revised version of it. So you have to think it through. Have a baseline, create some sort of baseline based on your historical information, and then make adjustment based on other additional elements that you have that you need to take into account. With that being said, I also suggested we need to do something new for 2020. You cannot just do status quo. Every time you create your annual plan, you need to actually have something new. That's actually a great way to ask for additional budget, is actually have a new initiative. So one thing I did ask her to add is account-based marketing. Given that her manager is a VP of sales, if you want to talk about account-based marketing to complement the account-based selling, you know what? The VP of sales will definitely entertain the ideas and discussion with Cindy in terms of account-based marketing, because that's going to help the sales team. So we created 4 slides. The number 1 slide is executive summary, like what I described. And we added one additional new initiative, which is enable sales through account-based marketing. The second slide is really about 2019 budget and the status update, which is the 2019 KPI update. The third slide is 2020 proposed budget. It's a table also with a bunch of assumptions identified, and also the industry benchmark that we want to share. Given that Cindy's budget is substantially lower than the industry, we kind of want to have industry benchmark data to substantiate that claim. The fourth slide is account-based marketing. So fourth slide is literally a slide to talk about what account-based marketing is, the benefit of it, how and what Cindy will do, right? So have that specific information to drive the conversation with the VP of sales. So that's what I did actually for Cindy. And the meeting went very, very well. And there were several questions that the VP of sales had that Cindy needed to follow up. At the end, we did not get all the budget, but she did get an incremental budget for account-based marketing and also pay search. So that was a huge win. If you are working on your budget and you need somebody to brainstorm with, reach out to me. I love to help you. I understand that the budget planning is a whole lot more complicated at the enterprise level. However, I also had experience working on that based on my past corporate experience. But working with me or not, I hope that you actually ask for additional budget and also share with your manager in terms of additional initiative that you want to do. You know, test things out, try multiple things, right? And see if you can actually get additional budget for your 2020 marketing plan. I wish you best of luck. So that's it for today. If you like the content, subscribe below or share with a friend who may benefit. In the meantime, I will see you next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.